Shirts. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Red Shirt Interviews. Yes, it is a working title. Stop asking me about it.
Yep.
As this is the show where we get really cool people to talk to us. We still can't figure out why they are, but hey, we won't ask any other questions. I'm your host, Laz D, the Pseudo Kiwi.
And I'm the illustrious Patrick M.
And with us tonight is another fantastic, distinguished guest, the assistant to the producers and the technical consultant for Star Trek New Voyages, Mr. Jaime Sanchez. Woo!
Yay!
Hey, Jamie, thanks for coming on the show,
No
man.
problem, guys. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, as we know, I mean, most of the people who are fans of Star Trek New Voyages, they know that there's a long storied history about this series. One of the biggest things is that it is currently the longest running fan series, brainchild of James Cawley, who for the longest time did actually play Captain Kirk himself before handing over the reins. Tell us, how did this all come about?
James has been a Star Trek fan ever since he was about 6 years old, and all he ever wanted to do was play Captain Kirk. So when he was that young, his grandfather and his father would make a bridge in his basement. So he would play Star Trek all the time with all the neighbor kids, making costumes, making props, and stuff like that. As he got older, he really wanted to make authentic costumes, so he called up Paramount and wanted Bill Tice. And he eventually got him on the phone, and Bill Tice offered him a little bit of a role in creating the sweaters that Wesley would wear during TNG.
Nice.
Before he died, Bill Tice had gifted James the patterns and some swatches from the original series, and along with all that stuff was the department head blueprints to all the sets from the 1960s.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. That is pretty awesome.
In 1998, James started, building sets in his spare time because, as many people may or may not know, James is a professional Elvis impersonator, one of the best in the country.
Yes, he is.
Then around 2003, they shot their pilot episode, Come What May, in Ticonderoga, and it's just blossomed ever since then.
I noticed that you mentioned that that this is all done in Ticonderoga. That's Ticonderoga in New York, and you wouldn't think that would be a place where you would build a studio to do a Star Trek series, but so far it looks like every time we turn around, that thing is getting bigger and bigger and getting more elaborate. And seeing James post the pictures of a lot of the set pieces that they're replicating and getting them down to the exact detail of the originals. I mean, again, most people wouldn't even think that this would be happening in upstate New York.
Well, the funny thing is that their first couple of episodes, I think, Come What May and In Harm's Way, were done in this second level place. And then for To Serve All My Days, which had Walter Koenig, they moved over to Port Henry. And they built the bridge, sick bay, a little bit of the corridor, the briefing room, and the transporter room was upstairs. And then last year, we moved into this 13,000 square foot facility where we've got the bridge, the whole entire length of the corridor, briefing room, captain's quarters, transporter room. We're working on the engineering section and the sick bay complex right now.
Yeah, I've seen we've seen the postings and such. It just looks amazing. So, okay, with all that going on, how did you get involved?
I started on the production in 2009 with the episode Katoomba, which we were talking about earlier off camera.
Right.
It was an amazing experience. I just saw. I wanted to get involved since World Enough in Time, but I was too young at the time.
Right.
When I joined the crew, I was 19. And within the first hour of me being on set, I'm not called Jamie when I'm at Star Trek, because the first day I was there was a whole bunch of Jims, Jamies, Jameses. So we were going to call me by my last name, Sanchez. And I do impressions, and one of the more known impressions that I do is Fez from That 70s Show.
Oh, come on! You gotta give us an impression. Seriously, you open
Here we
the
go.
arms now.
Well, I got another impression that goes along with the story.
Okay.
I do this Fez impression, and James is in the bridge. I am outside the bridge. He hears this, walks around the outside ring of the bridge, comes up to me and goes, "What's your name?" My name's Jamie. I'm gonna call you Fez. And I've been Fez ever since. And the thing I said was, if I was stranded on a desert island with only one form of cheese, no question it would have to be the Puff.
Beautiful, brilliant.
Yep.
But see, it's moments like that. It's just those little moments of brilliance that you have. You say the right thing at the right time in the right place, and the right person hears you, and bam. And like you said, you know, you have been working with the production since 2009, and you know, it's just really cool to see that this level of dedication from people who aren't getting paid, you know, what our heroes on the series got paid. You know, some people do this just as a voluntary process, and I just can't get over the level of dedication that we've seen from the likes of Star Trek New Voyages. We've talked to Victor Mignogna from Star Trek Continues as well, and we've gotten behind like the Star Trek Axanar and such, and to see these people and you guys as well put all this effort into being so creative, and you're just kind of doing it for the passion, and that in my eyes is the core of what Star Trek appreciation is all about.
That's definitely, we do this for the love of the game. It's not to get licensed by CBS, which we know in realistic terms it's never going to happen. It would be nice, but it's never going to happen. So we just want to tell great Star Trek the Original Series stories with our main protagonists, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, and an occasional Scotty story, maybe.
Well, we go back to the work that goes into constructing the sets and everything, and of course, that comes at a cost. And right now you guys have got a current Kickstarter campaign going on. So where is it at the moment?
As of this filming, which will be a couple days before, you've already met your goal of 20,000. I think we're at 24,000 right now. That'll be higher by the time this episode comes out. And you've got a couple weeks left to go. So.
Yeah, we're...
What do we have for stretch goals?
Yes, we do. We have stretch goals. Our first stretch goal is $50,000, which will cover all the costs of our episode. We're shooting 29 days from now, which is called Torment of Destiny. And a little blurb on it is it's a sequel to For the World is Hollow and I Have Touched the Sky.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. That's actually a classic. Second season, if I'm not mistaken.
Third season episode.
Third season. Okay.
And our big guest star is Apollo from Battlestar Galactica, Richard Hatch.
Richard Hatch. Richard's an old friend of the show. We've spoken to him quite a few times.
We can't get away from Richard Hatch, can we?
Richard Hatch is the new Star Trek. What would you say in the stalwart? I'll use friendlier terms, but he's a great guy. Actually, a fantastic guy. I love talking to him. So,
and I'm sure we'll talk to him again.
And again.
And again. And again. And again.
But you guys have got a fantastic resource there in Richard, being a part of that series. I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun working with him.
I've heard some stories from people who have met him and worked with him, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, his media director, Mina, is. I tell you, every time she's got something going on where he's involved with anything, it's always like next thing you know, bloop, up comes the messenger. Hey Lars, got another interview for you. This Richard's in this project. Can you do an interview for that one? Sure, Mina, not a problem. Off we go again. But I mean, amazing actor. You guys are going to have a fantastic time. I don't know if you've watched the Prelude to Axanar short movie that came out where he plays Karn the Undying. I tell you, like, I mean, obviously we've been a fan of his work since he was in Battlestar Galactica, both series. But it was just amazing to see him slip into the Star Trek role. So, like I said, I know when you guys go to film with him, you're going to get an unbelievable performance in the character that he'll play.
And then he'll start talking. And then the next day, when he finishes. Oh, God. Okay.
We say it with Richard. If you're watching, we say this in the most fantastic, lovingly way. You're an awesome guy. Make sure we get that.
One of the big things that is has kind of like slowed down production is the fact that, as we are an independent production, is the lighting of the future, we like to call it.
Right.
Because we only have a limited set of lights, we usually can only light 1 or 2 sets. And if one of those sets is the bridge, we can only light 1 set. So for our next stretch goal, it's $75,000, and it's to create a big lighting grid over all of our sets. So that way, hey, let's turn on this light, put this gel on it, boom, done. And you can light whatever you want.
You can just flip a switch and light wherever you need to be.
Mm-hmm. And that,
rather than having to shuffle lights around.
One thing I really want to say, and this is for directly at yourself and everybody who works on Star Trek New Voyages. One thing that I've always been impressed with is that it's not just that it's good stories, good acting, good sets, good lighting. It is that you're getting the whole package. You're getting people who are really, really passionate about the franchise, and you're going out of your way so that when I sit down and watch an episode of New Voyages, I am basically, if you were to take 60s Shatner and Nimoy and Doohan and all that and put them into your sets, they would be virtually indistinguishable from the original sets. That's a hallmark of a really good production.
Well, that's the goal for us. I mean, we've had a bunch of guest stars, as you know, George Takei, Walter Koenig, Denise Crosby, Mary Linda Rapelier, who played one of the hippies from Way to Eden.
Right.
And we had Grace Lee Whitney, who unfortunately has left us, played Janice Rand in World Enough in Time with George.
Nice.
And Barbara Luna, who was in Mirror Mirror in several episodes of ours. But we really, the biggest thing for us is we have fun. We do a Star Trek story, something that we feel as a production that we'd see William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, DeForest Kelley, Gene Roddenberry, Rob Justman, all those guys and gals from the 60s do. And that actually kind of leads me up to the next goal, which is our $150,000 stretch goal, which is making another Star Trek episode. We have in the pipeline 4 episodes, 2 of which were written by David Gerrold.
Okay, cool.
1 by DC Fontana, and the last one I'll spill a little bit on after we talk about all the stretch goals.
Okay.
The next goal after that is $150,000, and we want to finish the rest of the remaining sets, like the brig, the shuttlecraft bay, that type of stuff, because we have the room. We have so many sets that we would like to complete.
Yeah, we're actually, while we're filming, we're actually looking at some of the partially constructed sets, and I can only imagine. Yeah, I mean, it's really important. Look, everybody, I'm telling you right now, if you're watching this, make sure you get over there or over there or over down there or up there, wherever the link is to get.
We'll just point like that.
That's right, like that, and wherever it is to get to the Kickstarter campaign for this before it runs out. Get over there and back this project because it's because of the hard work of guys like yourself that we have the continuation of the legacy that we have fallen in love with. You said that you've got a number of episodes that you want to do down the line, and it's good. I mean, hopefully you can get a push right there toward either now or towards the end, and get to that 200,000 stretch goal that you
Which
have.
is your biggest one, which
Yeah.
you haven't told us about yet. So
So please tell us a
Let's
little bit
go
more
with that
about that one.
And the $200,000 stretch goal is another episode. So that means not a Torment of Destiny. You get another episode and another episode after that. So that's
Hey.
3 episodes for you guys.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, we've got to make this happen because I can't get enough Star Trek, and being able to watch the show is it keeps the imagination alive. It keeps the fire alive. You've mentioned some wonderful people that have been on the show as guests. I don't think that anybody who has been in the industry like we have as well can fully appreciate what it is like to work with these people. Because one thing we interviewed a really cool social media promoter last night, and one of the things we talked about was that a lot of people say don't meet your heroes because you'll be disappointed, but when it comes to Star Trek, one of the things that came up a lot was that these people are professionals. They're friendly, they're kind, they're accommodating. So when they come to show up, they don't just come to say their lines, play their part and leave. A lot of times they get involved, or they bring that passion that they've always brought to their character to your production, which means not only are you getting them to perform as, say, George Takei as Sulu, or I believe he had another role in the series as well when he guest starred. You're getting that, but you're also getting these really genuinely nice people come in. So you have that experience. You can turn around and say, you know what? I talked to Walter Koenig. I talked to George Takei. I talked to Grace Lee Whitney. And they have. I talked to Gil Gerard. I mean, we were just watching Katoomba for a bit before we came out to the studio to get set up, and I was just like, that's Gil Gerard, and he's like, oh, it is. Like, it's Buck Rogers. I mean, for people like us, that's like,
Yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from. Even though I had never seen Buck Rogers, meeting Gil Gerard and having conversations with him, and then meeting Andy Probert, a guy who literally designed the Enterprise D.
Yep.
I'm like, ah!
Let me impart you a little story about Andy. And if
Oh,
you're
boy.
watching this, Andy, I'm sorry. Actually, it's a really nice story. Andy and his wife had come down to see his son, his daughter-in-law, and his grandchildren. And I knew we were going to be breaking bread with them, sort of sitting down and having dinner, and then maybe having a little bit of a conversation afterwards. After I got over the fan stage fright of being in the same room as the guy who designed not only the Galaxy class and my favorite, the Romulan Warbird, I sat down and talked to him quite a bit, and he gave us a little bit of a slideshow. And I'll tell you, some of the stories he would tell us about when they were doing all the construction and doing the sets and doing the production of TNG were great. But what was really awesome is when he showed us the original ending storyboards for Back to the Future. And I can tell you, it was nothing like we saw in the movies. And I'm not going to give away the secret because that's Andy's secret to give away. But I can tell you, I was sitting there gobsmacked the entire time, like, oh my goodness, if this was like this, I don't know if this would have ever been the same. I don't think I would have ever thought of the movie the same. It was cool, it was fantastic, but what we know of it was just wow. I mean, that's crazy, but it would have been so cool if they could have pulled it off.
And crazier.
Yeah, so I might be able to impart upon you the story behind the details of those storyboards off the record, of course. Again, we're sorry, Andy.
Oh my God, that's so cool. I actually have a story about some very important Trek alum. My second shoot, we did a script called Origins, which would eventually be called The Protracted Man, and the writer and director was David Gerald. So I had been working on the set for like days, and the first thing he had said to us was, "Please don't come up to me unless you have dark chocolate."
Okay.
I'm like, okay. And this is when I was just a PA. So I'd be getting stuff. I'd just make sure that he was okay. And I was reading the Constellations book where he had written the forward for, and somebody had sent me to go get something. And I came back and we were celebrating one of the younger Collins stuff. And Patrick Colley, who plays Zahn, actually came up to me and said, "Fez, have you seen your book?" I said, "Yeah, it's on the desk. Why?" "You should go get it." I'm like, okay. I thought he was like playing a trick on me because we do that sometimes.
Right, as you do.
So it may have been an hour later that I actually picked it up, and the book was inscribed with David Gerald's signature. And with that signature, it said, "To Fez, thank you for all your hard work. David Gerald."
Wow.
I've had the opportunity to work with David multiple times now, and we're good friends. And you know what? He may be a curmudgeon on line, but sorry, David, for telling everybody this, but he's a real sweetheart.
The secret's out. We got your number, David.
Now you're going to have to buy more dark chocolate.
That's right. Send more dark chocolate. Well, we had a story I mentioned last night about my first foray into film was working on The Last Samurai, and same thing. A lot of people say some terrible things about Tom Cruise, and I've seen some erratic behavior and such like that. But I tell you what, you sit down and you have a meal with that guy, he is super, super nice to deal with. So.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie, I really appreciate you coming on the show. We would love to continue talking to you, but we've run out of time. We're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode of the Red Shirt Interviews. And yes, in case you're wondering, it is still a working title. Don't give me that look.
Preparing to roll eyes. Rolling eyes.
Our guest to this episode has been Jaime Sanchez from Star Trek and Voyages. Make sure to check out their Facebook fan page, check out their website, make sure you go to Kickstarter and back the program. If you don't, we'll know who you are.
Back it now.
Back it now.
Now.
Oh my.
And off the Sulu ref. Oh my. Okay,
Yes.
or excuse me, the more the George Takei. I mean, it's more of a George
Yep.
Takei thing. All right, this has been the Red Shirt Interviews. I am your host, Laz D, the Pseudo Kiwi.
And I'm the illustrious Patrick M.
See ya, folks.